So, hey there. This is my technical first ever YouTube video, so hello, I guess. I also guess I should be introducing myself. You can call me Bug. I am an artist. Clearly. I'm kind of sick at the moment, so pardon me if I sound a bit nasally. But this is the first ever YouTube video I will be posting on here, besides the obvious speed paints that are already up. In this video, I will be doing a design for the Greek god Hypnos. I will also be discussing his story, or backstory, I suppose, and how I came up with the character design. So, let's get into it. So, who is Hypnos? Well, Hypnos is the Greek god of sleep. He doesn't have many references in media besides a few myths and, of course, the game Hades. Though unlike his twin brother in that game, he is not a romanceable option, and I am definitely not salty about that. In mythology, Hypnos is often depicted as being a beautiful young man with the wings of an angel coming out of his head or the sides of his shoulders. He also often is depicted holding things like poppies and opium. He has the ability to put anyone to sleep, mortal or immortal, and he lives in the mountains surrounded by fog and poppies. But the only description of this place was in Metamorphosis by the Roman poet Ovid. In this mountain, he rules over his sleeping subjects and lives with his lovely wife, Pethesia, who is known for bestowing relaxation, so it makes perfect sense why the two of them are together. The two of them have 4 kids, and each of those kids are associated with different aspects of dreams. Hypnos' parents are Nyx, the very powerful and ancient goddess of the night, and his other parent is Erebus. I don't know if I said that right, but his father is the embodiment of darkness. Probably hard to have so many kids when you can't even see your husband, but I guess she made it work. In total, his parents had 14 children, 5 boys and 8 girls. One of those children being a literal river. Yes, a river. One of their children is the River of Styx, which is in the underworld. Don't ask me why or how. That's for the gods to know and for me to try my best not to imagine. But back to Hypnos. He's not featured in many stories because he's an underrated king. But however, the ones he is usually in, he is getting into mischief on the behalf of the other gods. In one story, after Hercules, who is a child of Zeus, absolutely desecrates Troy, then left in his boat, Hera, being Hera, wanted to do what she always tries to do to her husband's affair children and kill him. She had planned to take his ship and make it crash in the ocean, but of course she couldn't do that with Zeus watching, so she goes to Hypnos and asks him to put her husband to sleep. Hypnos, of course, accepts the offer, not realizing he was about to be the accessory to attempted murder. And as Hera is summoning these winds that are killing everyone on the cruise ship, Zeus wakes up somehow and he is pissed. He beats the dookie out of multiple of the Olympians, and of course tries to beat up Hypnos, but joke's on him, Hypnos goes to the underworld and hides behind his mother, who apparently everyone is afraid of in Greek mythology, and apparently Zeus decides that his life is more valuable than beating up Hypnos and leaves. This same story actually happens again, technically, but instead of Hera wanting to kill one of her many stepchildren, she wants to help the Greeks in the Trojan War. However, Zeus has forbid her from doing so. So in this story, Hera offers to play matchmaker and set up Hypnos with his future wife in exchange for his help. Hypnos agrees and makes her swear on the River of Styx, aka his technical sibling, and then he puts Zeus to sleep. Again. While Zeus is asleep, Hera sends Poseidon to go and direct the Trojans. Hypnos is mentioned in a few other stories, but as a whole, he's kind of neglected in mythology. However, he is still one of my top 3 Greek gods and kind of my favorite. For the character design, I actually tried really hard to be more original and avoid already existing concepts, besides like the obvious things associated with Hypnos and sleep. For example, I tried to associate to things like the colors. There are cheat sheets online that I did look at. For example, the colors associated with him are silver, blue, red, and purple. I tried to incorporate those colors into his design, mainly into his skin and his feathers/fur. I tried to associate I actually did a lot of fabric association, or at least I tried to, where I tried to put a lot of silk and satin, because I know those are things that a lot of people associate with sleep. I also personally associate those fabrics with sleep. And so I tried to make that that toga he's wearing, sort of like a see-through silk fabric. Of course, that didn't end up working. I just, as you can see in the time lapse, it just doesn't look right, kinda. Like, it just looks weird, and so I ended up scrapping that and having the color be solid red so that it's more of a satin fabric. Though looking at it now, it does kind of look okay. I think I might have just been struggling at the time. When it came to his body, besides like the very like curvy and like soft, effeminate features I gave him, I did try to incorporate sort of the animal side that I see a lot of people give like Greek characters. But I didn't want to do anything like a goat because, I mean, goats aren't necessarily associated with sleep like sheep are sometimes due to their wool texture, but I wanted to try something different, and so I decided I was going to give him the elements of a poodle moth, hence the antenna and the moth, quote-unquote moth legs. They look more like goat legs now that I'm looking at them in the time-lapse. But I did try to give him sort of moth-like features because moths are animals that tend to come out at night, and so I imagine him, since he's too busy putting everyone else to sleep, he probably sleeps during the day and then goes to bed at night. Like I said earlier, he heavily is associated as well with wings, so I gave him some wings coming out of the sides of his head, like in a lot of the sculptures and paintings, and I also gave him some wings coming out of his hips, mainly just because I thought it looked pretty. I also gave him some extra pairs of eyes, 6 to be exact, 4 on his face and then 2 on the sides of his wings on the sides of his head. And then I also tried to put in some poppies near the bottom of his robe. I did actually kind of struggle with the robe. I was originally going to make it like clouds, but then I didn't like the brush I was using, so I ended up changing that. Hence the art process. I did, however, I tried to give him that, like, personality-wise, I don't know if I'm saying this right, but, like, he looks like someone who you could trust. Like, he's trustworthy. He looks like a trustworthy guy. There isn't much else to say about his character design. It's kind of basic. I didn't do too much when it came to adding a bunch of extra accessories. I did give him a little pouch where I imagine he would keep his little sleep powder, kind of like Sandman. Though, when it comes to personality, I like to imagine he is very calm and easygoing, and very much a mama's boy, hence the story I told earlier about Zeus being too scared to beat up him after he went died behind his mother. On the topic of his mother, though, why did she give birth to a lake? Like, I understand Greek mythology is weird, but, like, how did that happen? I said before I wasn't going to think about it, but I'm really thinking about it now, and it's like, how did that happen? How do you give birth to a lake? You know what? Never mind. I'm not going to think about that. That's not important. What's important is to admire this very pretty speed paint. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm running out of things to talk about. So I'm probably going to end this segment here. Thank you for watching. I have no idea if this is going to be seen by anyone, but if you are seeing it, let me know if you enjoyed it, or if you think I need to find new hobbies. Regardless, I wish anyone seeing this a lovely day, and thank you very much for watching. Bye bye!